Other economic freedom fighters in Gauteng have slammed the Democratic Alliance's Ekurhuleni councillor Dannie Putter for what the party calls racial mobilization against the EFF. It follows a video on social media where Putter was seen addressing a gathering where he called on members to stand together. He did this while pointing to his arm. Watch this video.
Other party supporters, which is actually in control now, that is tired and they want to move somewhere else. And they actually move somewhere else. But we need to stand together. We need to stand together and say together. We need to stand together. Other party supporters, which is actually in control now, that is tired and they want to move somewhere else. And they actually move somewhere else. But we need to stand together. We need to stand together and say together. We need to stand together. Other parties.
Well, the EFF's Dumisani Baleni joins us now for more on that. Dumisani, good to have you, and thank you very much for your time. It's always a challenge to take a snippet of a conversation, and you are in a danger of maybe putting it out of context. So try and give us as much context as we possibly can on that video. Where was this gathering? Why was there a gathering? And who was at this gathering?
Well, we are made to, first of all, greetings to you, Bratawe, and good evening to the viewers. So we're made aware of this video or of this conversation yesterday, that this was a congregation, it was a church service, and it happened in Kempton Park, and that the pastor was mobilizing people, in fact, that they must stand together, which is white people, which is a white-dominated area. In fact, Bradley, if you know, the EFF also contested in the ward in the previous elections, and in that congregation, in that church service, this councillor was mobilizing white people to stand together against the EFF that is now in charge of Ekurhuleni. And that is what we were made to understand with regards to the clip. The person who sent us the clip couldn't take the rest of the clip because you would understand the environment in which such conversation took place wouldn't allow him or her to be able to take everything, as it was, we believe, an unholy gathering, congregation of white racists.
So why do you classify it as racial mobilization against the EFF in particular? I know the clip says the other party that is in charge, and if you know then the context of Ekurhuleni, you would say, yes, the EFF is in charge maybe of more portfolios, even though the mayor is not a member of the EFF.
Well, one, because the DA has actually declared the EFF enemy number one, and they have declared this in public, that they see the EFF as their political enemy because of many reasons, including the DA's stance on racial politics, on them being unapologetic in their position in defending racism and defending white interest and privilege. And in this instance, the councillor Putter is now organizing, like we said, the source of the video and the person who was present in the gathering indicates that this was him speaking in relation to the EFF, to be specific, and also in relation to the city of Ekurhuleni in particular. So that is not a mistake. We know that is a racial mobilization against the EFF and ultimately against black people, because he is actually pointing that it is white people that must stand together. It's not just everyone. It's not the South Africans. It's not the people of Kempton Park, which there is black people. There are black people. There are Indians, and also there are white people in Kempton Park. But he is mobilizing directly and specifically white people to stand together.
Yeah, the context, of course, again of the conversation, saying, well, there are other people who are party supporters who are tired of the party and are moving elsewhere to other parties. What exactly is that referring to?
Well, I'm not sure of that. I didn't get the context in terms of saying
before he says we must stand together, he says other people who are tired of the party that is currently in governance are moving away.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I think you should get it properly. The context, in fact, he means that the people of Ekurhuleni are actually the people of a certain group in Ekurhuleni are the ones that are tired and moving elsewhere. I think that is how I got the video. That's how I got the conversation. Not moving to another party, but moving elsewhere out of the city.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So I wanted to get the context of that. Now you are calling for an immediate removal of the councillor and that he be subjected to the ethics committee. Who is going to do that?
Well, we believe that racial utterances like these ones should not go unpunished, and they must always be punished with the harshest of the consequences. And that if needs be, there must be criminal charges attached to them. So, one, we want the Council of Ekurhuleni to take action to subject the councillor into the ethics committee in the city of Ekurhuleni, and want the council also to take steps in holding this racist accountable, in making sure that he answers on what he meant and what he is trying to achieve with the utterances that he was busy speaking of. And then we have also opened a case in Crystal Park Police Station, a case of an offense to dignity, a criminal injuria, and we also, received a lot of resistance from the police when the chairperson of Ekurhuleni led a delegation to open a case. There was a lot of resistance, and we are still waiting for a case number. So we are taking up steps, but we expect the city of Ekurhuleni, the council itself, to take action on him.
Yeah. So, of course, council just doesn't take action like that. You would need to have lodged an official complaint, and it must be investigated, and so on and so forth. Have you done that, including a complaint to the Human Rights Commission?
Well, we are going to write a complaint to the Human Rights Commission, and we'll let everyone know when we are doing it. And in council, in terms of the steps of council, the EFF caucus in Ekurhuleni will do that part of the work. And even when that is done, we'll make sure that we'll let everyone know, like we did today when we went to open a case. So definitely we'll be taking a step. And the EFF has never been an organization that allows racial racists to go unpunished in the country. Whenever racism raises its ugly head, we are always there to make sure that they are held accountable. And in this instance, it is going to happen exactly like that.
And not that I suppose you would expect some kind of response from the Democratic Alliance, but I'll put the question out there anyway. Have you confronted them about this video, and have you received any response from them?
No, we haven't confronted them. If they think it is important for them to respond to it, they will respond. But you'd understand, Pratama, that where the EFF is now with the DA, Democratic Alliance, it's that we are political opponents that the DA has declared us to be. And we don't believe that we should continuously try to seek attention from them. We are seeking attention from the legal bodies, from the legislative body in Ekurhuleni, from the police, and from the Human Rights Commission. If the DA wants to do something, they want to respond, or they want to explain themselves, that is on their part to do so.
Would you consider this to be within that campaign speak that happens during elections?
Well, yes, partly number one is that it is elections. We expect people to say a lot of things, but we believe that white people, and including him, Councillor Dannie Putter, is the racist. And, once in a while, racism comes out and it shows itself. And even when a person is not aware, But if you are a racist, fundamentally, you will always show out. It will always show itself. So we believe, one, it is part of the campaign. Two, it is the fact that the DA is a racist party, and most of its leaders, the white leaders, to be even specific, is that they are racist and they uphold racial ideology. And in this instance, the DA also exists to protect white privilege, to protect white interests, and this is not a mistake. It's not just a mistake. It's not just an issue of elections, but it is an ideology which they uphold.
I don't hold brief for the Democratic Alliance. In fact, we invited the DA chief whip to come. He had agreed, but I'm told now he's not coming on to actually talk to us. But I'm sure they'll want to come in and say, at least in the conversation I've had with John Steenhuisen or even Helen Ziller, that they're not a racist party.
Well, I think it is self-evident in one what their councillor is actually saying there, that white people must organize themselves. It is in itself a very racist statement, in that you don't view South Africa as a collective society. You view yourselves as white people. Also, the DA's policies are fundamentally racist in that they are very, very, very direct and firm about protecting the interests of the people that still have land today, of the people that still have economy on their side today. And DA has never ever come out and speak out against racism. They always keep quiet when cases of racism come up, but they also never take actions. If the DA says is not a racist party, we should be able to see them taking actions against their leaders like this one, and also even against other members of the society that now and then go out there and display their racist ideologies.
Yeah. What one can say, before your participation in lending your vote to the government of national unity, you had lended your vote to the Democratic Alliance. Does this mean that in Ekurhuleni you have now also drawn a line in the sand that you will not, even with your issues with the ANC, be supporting the Democratic Alliance in the future?
Well, remember, even when the EFF supported or voted with the DA, it has always made it clear that the DA is a racist party. But one, we are supporting the DA because we want to humble the ANC, which has been in power for a very long time and has done nothing about racism. But also it has been leading our people with arrogance, thinking that they will remain in power until Jesus Christ comes back. One, it was to discipline the ANC. Two, also, when we voted with them, we had hoped that because we are in the opposition party, we're in the opposition benches, and they understand that they are in power in the behest of the EFF or with the help of the EFF, they would at least, try and deliver services to our people with an understanding that they don't enjoy majority in council. But the DA, since it has declared the EFF enemy number one, and also since the DA also, when it was in power, was implementing what you call a racial-based service delivery, where services were delivered in mostly white-populated areas, the EFF took a step against the DA and decided to form government with the ANC and the other political organizations. But as to what happens in future, that gets to be decided by the leadership of the EFF. And that also depend on what happens in terms of context, in terms of the dynamics. But also, it does not stop the fact that we view the DA as a racist party and a party that defends white privilege and a party that we must always be mindful of, and we must defeat in the coming 2024 general election. But also generally we must defeat and chuck it out of positions of power everywhere, because they represent white interests and white privilege. So what happens in the future, the leadership gets to decide depending on the wisdom of the leadership on that day. But I think the Commander-in-Chief has spoken a lot about it, that he wouldn't mind speaking to anyone. In fact, the EFF is ready to speak to anyone post the elections. And even in Ekurhuleni, with all the issues that are taking place in Ekurhuleni, the EFF is open to speaking to anyone, to discussing issues of service delivery, issues that concern our people in Ekurhuleni. But in terms of the decision on government, that lies with the leadership.
All right, much appreciated. Dumisani Baleni speaking for the EFF in Ekurhuleni there. Thank you for joining us tonight. More news when we return after this.